Hello and welcome to episode 4B of the conversion of Granny Grumman. In this episode, we're going to be removing the cast iron 1973-292 Chevy Inline 6, as well as the Muncie SM465 manual transmission from Granny Grumman. So far, I've removed the grille, I've removed this little cross member that connects the left and right side of the aluminum chassis, and here you can see I'm starting to remove the radiator. I'm going to be removing the engine in a quite unorthodox way. You're normally supposed to lift the entire aluminum chassis off of the frame to be able to get everything out, but I don't have access to a lift. So I'm going to be cutting out the radiator stay to be able to draw the engine out of the front. Somebody else has done this before, and that's why that little aluminum piece connecting the left and right side of the aluminum chassis is removable. And you can see 2 points on the radiator stay where somebody cut it before to do this exact same thing, and then they welded it back in place. I'll be fabricating some brackets so that I can remove the radiator stay in the future if I ever have to remove the engine again, instead of welding it back into place. Right here you can see me removing the base to the doghouse, which also has the rubber straps that retain it, and the doghouse is the cover over the engine that you remove so you can get access to the back of it. Here you can see me removing a cross member which connects the left and right side of the chassis and also provides support for the floor right where the shifter is, and that's going to allow me to remove the floor so that I can get access to that Muncie SM465, remove it from the back of the bell housing, and then just lift the engine out from the front. Right here you can see me removing the speedometer cable, and it was mainly just getting years of oil off of this thing to be able to screw it off.
Speedometer!
Right here you're going to see me remove the drive shaft by freeing up the U-joint. Those high-pitched noises you're hearing in the background are little airplanes taking off from a local airport. Next comes the starter motor. And here you're going to see me remove the throttle and choke linkage from the carburetor. And next is the clutch linkage, which is all mechanical, as most everything is on Granny Grumman. The next step was removing the exhaust, which was super stuck on there. Out comes the transmission mount.
Oh, yeah.
Here I'm jacking up the Muncie just so I can get a little jack stand underneath the bell housing so I can remove it. And here you're going to see me remove the 4 bolts that retain the Muncie to the bell housing.
Oh, yeah. Transmission is free.
And out the passenger door it goes.
Hey!
And here you're going to see me using my lithium-ion reciprocating saw to be able to cut out the radiator stay. I'm cutting right where the cuts were before from the last person who pulled the engine this way. They say if it doesn't fight you every step of the way, it's not yours. So I can confidently say that this engine is mine.
That's why I was not jacking it all at once. You don't notice, right? A little at a time. I'll hold this and get it in there.
And of course, right when the engine comes out, my phone runs out of space, and it doesn't capture the moment. The next step is to take the engine, remove a couple parts like the fan, the alternator, and start degreasing it as much as I possibly can. The next step is going to be removing the bell housing, the pressure plate, the clutch, and then finally the flywheel.
No. Oh, God.
Now that the back of the engine's freed up, we can finally mount it to the engine stand. Don't forget, always read your manual.
All right, let's go. Yep. Right there. That's it.
The next thing to come off is the harmonic balancer. And next up is the timing gear cover. Here's the oil pan, which I had tried removing in the van earlier, so it only had 2 bolts in it. The pipe you're about to see me remove from the carburetor is the fuel line that attaches directly to the mechanical fuel pump on the opposing side of the engine block, which gets its power off of one of the cam lobes. The next thing to go are the intake and exhaust manifolds. Here you're going to see me remove one of the studs from the cylinder head using 2 nuts. Next up are the engine mounts. Now we're removing the mechanical fuel pump, which was connected to that fuel line we removed earlier from the carburetor. And that's pretty much it for this episode. I put a bag over the engine so it wouldn't get dusty, organized a bunch of the parts inside the old cage that came with Granny Grumman. I have all the hardware in Ziploc bags marked with Sharpies, and I'll come back to it in 2 weeks and continue cleaning it up, installing some new parts like a rear main seal, going through the wiring, and yeah, just stay tuned. I only work on it every 2 weeks, so it's hard to get a lot of videos out real quickly, but stay tuned. They're coming.